Welcome back to Sports First, number one in sports. I am your host, Sabotage, and this is our football edition of Sports First. Tana Anda. Let's get it started with fantasy and all around NFL talk today. The king of fantasy would most definitely is Justin Herbert, if I'm not wrong, with 42.8 with 5 touchdowns, 398 yards. Big numbers right there. Other people that had big games. I mean, a couple of Chargers actually had the biggest games out of most fantasy players, as in Mikey Williams got 36.5. Eckler got 32.9. That's freaking wild, but it makes sense since it was against the Browns, and pretty much anybody that you had for the Chargers would have gotten you big numbers. Alvin Kamara had 20.3. Antonio Brown 31.4. Other players 29.6 for Cordarius Tony, the rookie. Man, that dude could play. He had 10 receptions. With the bad thing that happened I guess just bad thing that happened. That sounds terrible. But just that Daniel Jones went down today. It was during the first. Man, I was pretty much lost for words as of now. And while it happened, since I got him on my fantasy team, so I was very disappointed. He only got 4.8. I mean, the game hasn't really ended right now, so this podcast is before the Buffalo versus Chiefs and Colts Ravens game. So if one of them becomes fantasy king, but I guess in me edition it's gonna be Herbert. Derrick Henry didn't disappoint again. I mean, he's just been amazing this year. Other than that very first game, CD Lamb had a pretty CD Lamb's the Lamp had him had himself a pretty good game. He was, I guess 18.8 is the greatest for a player that should be getting a little bit, just a little bit more. I would say like maybe in the 25s area. That's what you kind of expect for. I mean, there's a lot of expectations for CD Lamb. I think myself and everybody else does, and there's the player I'm actually facing has all three top players, I would say. I mean, Cooper's the other top player. Then Schultz has been killing it. But he has Zeke, CD, and Prescott. So I got matched up with all them dudes. Still had a chance. I still have a slight chance. I don't see the percentage, but I have Clyde Edward-Helaire. I actually had Miles Gaskin. He came up and showed up today, technically today, earlier in the. He had 2 receptions. I forget how many carries he has, but he had really good games against a pretty good defense. Surprisingly, Mike Gesicki was the one who didn't have the good game, and I actually had him started. Didn't have Miles Gaskin starting. I expected a big game from Jamal Williams, but with him and old boy Swift sharing, nothing happened. Sam Darnold, man, what the heck is going on with Sam Darnold? The boy has seen ghosts. He needs help from the Ghostbusters, I tell you what. But yeah, Sam Darnold has been playing really well. These 2 weeks in a row? He's probably had like 5 interceptions. He came in playing so well, 3-0 start for them, but now it's not looking too great for them. A player that I expected a good amount from was Jared Cook. I think it's Mike Williams from Arizona College. He actually went down. Looked like he had himself a knee injury. I actually picked up Jared Cook. He didn't do too well, to be honest. to be honest. I mean, it's obvious that he didn't do too well. He only had 3.9 points. Craziness right there. What's his name has been a big disappointment. Allen Robinson with another low game with 4 receptions. Also, Titans defense should have played pretty well, but they didn't against Ricky, Trevor Lawrence. I mean, there was times where they had like 15 points or so, but still, Jacoby Myers had a pretty big game last week. Very disappointing game this week. Other than just Herbert, Sam Darnold's bad game. Nick Chubb still looking pretty good. The two-headed monster out in Cleveland. Obviously the best 1-2 punch in the NFL, as in Tony Pollard and Ezekiel doesn't look too bad. I mean, I don't know if there's another 1-2 punch that's as that good or as good as both of those. I mean, Nyheim Hines, Jonathan Taylor, I guess, but that's more. Then you could say Jamal Williams, DeAndre Swift as well. Saquon Barkley actually went down too with a nasty looking ankle roll. Well, not really an ankle roll. It was more of a player's went over his ankle. This guy's just been one of the most unluckiest players in the NFL. You know, for a long time, people have been expecting so much and just not too much just came out. Very disappointing game from Mason Crosby and the Green Bay Packers. I mean, he had he was 4 for 7 and also missed. He was 1 for 2 for extra points, so that's terrible. You know, 4 for 7 for field goal is not great. But then again, the Cincinnati Bengals had the chance to win it too, and that was even before the overtime, and they had the chance to win it in overtime. They both had the chance to win it in overtime and didn't do it. Starting to sound like I ain't got no talent like Chris Byrne. But other players, Jamar Chase, man, he's been pretty legit. Jamar Chase with I think it's already this is the 5th game with 5 to 6 touchdowns. I would need to look up the stats. And then I was just thinking of another player, but it just went out the window. Robbie Anderson has actually been one of those players that's been disappointing. Trey Lance on his feet, really good player, but passing, he's still young, so I didn't expect him to do too well. Somewhat. I actually tried to pick him up off free agency, but I didn't. He's been okay, I guess. Then who's the other one? Not Justin Jefferson. Justin Fields, not too great himself. But then again, they're both young. You expect a lot more from them in the future. Maybe, you don't know how it goes. Rookie year is just not always great. Not everybody's gonna have a Justin Herbert like year. Other players to look at. Surprising. Well, actually, Darnold kind of caused this loss. With all those 3 interceptions. But Jalen Hurts played lights out. Got himself some good fantasy points, but really he just, it was more of a really good game for the team or the Philadelphia Eagles. Other players, Mike Evans had himself a pretty good game too, I guess, and DK Metcalf with Geno Smith, but that was during the Monday night games, but it still technically counts as this week's NFL games. Like I said with Justin Fields, he did good as a rookie coming in, with the 1 pass and the 1 touchdown and 111 yards. But still, he is a rookie. He did have a roll, ankle roll, not the roll as in food roll. Other players, Angie Fantasy, I already said Alvin Kamara, Chuba Hubbard played pretty decent, I guess, for 1-on-1, and Deandre Hopkins, what a nice pass he had at the very end that pretty much won the game, I guess, for them. He was the coverage was great, but Kyler Murray threw it in there and he caught that mug. Kyle Pitts actually, I think this was his breakout game, with 9 receptions, 119 yards. I'm not sure on the target numbers, but he had a really good game. Odell Beckham hasn't came back yet fully, I guess. Well, he's back, but not, you know what I mean. back as the one of the elite wide receivers in the NFL. Aja. Alexander Madison still playing with oh boy Cook out. Surprisingly, George Kittle. I didn't know that he was out, but yeah, he was. I guess well, actually, he's an injured reserve, so I should have already known that. But yeah, Alexander Madison with 26.3. Somebody didn't start him in our league. This guy, he well, he ended up winning today. So yeah, that's some good for him. He started Melvin Gordon, but he's still winning. Well, actually, technically, he won already. Actually, the other player has Lamar Jackson, so we'll see what Lamar Jackson does for him. Probably can end up winning the game. And he actually has Tyreek Hill, so ooh, pretty good team with Kyle Pitts, Deandre Hopkins, Tyreek Hill, Melvin Gordon, Chuba Hubbard. I guess we'll just look at the standings real quick. Bills in AFC East, number 1, 3-1. Chargers 3-1. AFC West tied with the Raiders, but I think the Raiders. Oh well, the Raiders actually lost 2, didn't they? They lost. Well, the Chargers beat them, and then I thought the Raiders lost today. I'm sure the Raiders lost. Yeah, 20-9, and they lost Monday to the Chargers. Oh, that's why the records aren't really showing up because I'm looking at it as an I had a refreshed screen and all that stuff. But that'll be it pretty much. I pretty much did talk about the NFL and fantasy all in one because I pretty much brought up the players, the big games. It was a lot of craziness today. It's really fun to watch. Today, I guess there's still teamwork, guys, with the best game, obviously, and Bills versus Chiefs. That Giants Cowboys game would have been really good if Danny Boy would have stuck around. Dolphins just they're pretty much. I don't see what they're gonna do unless Tua comes back and plays amazing. Seahawks had that loss on Monday. Oh man, I was so confused. That was actually what? Yeah, the Raiders Chargers games was last Thursday then. Was that last Thursday? Man, I'm totally confused on what game right now. But Saints beat the Washington Redskins. They're not the Redskins anymore. Just a football team. Detroit almost got that win, almost, but then the Cousins, went down the field. Got a couple passes to I want to say Eckler, but it's not Eckler. Obviously, it's man. I was hoping he would get it to Justin Jefferson, but it was Adam Thielen. Oh my God. Adam Thielen, yeah, he had the two. Damn, was it those two passes were to Thielen, or was one of them to Coughlin? And who's the other player? Oh yeah, D.D. Westbrook. Surprisingly, I actually drafted him last year, and that didn't work out too well for me. Well, one of those passes I'm sure was to Thielen at the very end, and they ended up getting a field goal, got that game, took it away from very close games that Detroit Lions have lost. But yeah, I think that'll do it for the 10 up, 10 in, whatever the heck I want to end up naming this football show. Alright, Sabotage out as usual. Thanks for watching, subscribe, and do all that other good stuff you don't want to, go do what you want.